it's not only Palestinian people that are hounded in Israel. There are also 64,000 African asylum seekers who entered Israel in the last decade. They make up less than 1% of the population of the country. But Israel has rejected 99+% of the refugee requests, making it the lowest refugee acceptance rate in the world, shamefully. And because of this, their whole policy has been to make their lives miserable, to immiserate them to the point where they give up and self-deport. And this policy has been so successful that the government has ethnically cleansed the country of African refugees, half of the community in the last 5 years, since 2013. So now that 64,000 is now maybe 32,000. So again, without going into details about the community, but the point is that one of the ways that the government makes their lives miserable is, you know, I can just walk into a government office, into the Misrad HaPnim, the Interior Ministry, and get my documents renewed whenever I need to do so, if I do passport, you know, ID card, whatever. But not these black folks. They can't just go into a government office. No, 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 no. Although you should be allowed to, but no. The government says you can only go to this one little office in the middle of nowhere out there. It's not even an office. You have to stand in the sun, in the rain, in the cold, in the heat, in the parking lot. There's nowhere to, you can't get something to eat or something to drink or go where to pee or hide from the sun. Nothing. You're just in the rain, and you know, families, mothers, children. It's a horror show, you know. And the reason why I tell you this whole story is because it happened in an ultra-Orthodox neighborhood, strangely enough. And when a couple of ultra-Orthodox people saw this, they were moved by this, and they knew that they couldn't allow it to stand. And so this group of ultra-Orthodox Jews, they actually organized, they built a shade structure. So at the very least, while they're waiting to days or, you know, to renew their papers, at least they're not in the hot sun. And in fact, they got these porta potties, outdoor toilets, so that at least they have a place to pee while they're waiting in line all day. So all this to say, don't assume just because someone looks ultra-Orthodox, has the symbols or signs of ultra-Orthodox that are associated with ultra-Orthodox Jews. There's all kinds of reasons why people wear the dress code and, you know, align themselves with a specific racial or religious sect, rather. You know, people derive community support from religious institutions. And so just because someone identifies with a specific sect, it doesn't mean that they necessarily abide, are adhere to, or, you know, believe in all the tenets of that sect. But so clearly there are some ultra-Orthodox people who are not racist and who love their fellow man and see them as their equals, including these people. And this is the woman who organized that event. But having said that, notice that her face is blurred out at her insistence, because although she did this, she suffers threats. In her words, she said, "The number of curses I've received since we started this group, in my entire life, I never received even 1% of what I've been getting." That's the amount of abuse she gets from her own community for daring to just build a little shade structure on top of these African refugees. So she didn't go into any details, so we don't know exactly what curses those were that she was receiving from her fellow ultra-Orthodox Jews, but we do have a good idea of the other curses that another group of Jews receive by extending solidarity with Africans. These are Holocaust survivors, Jews, European Jews who survived the Holocaust here on the continent, somehow, some way, after the Holocaust, made their way to then Palestine, now Israel, and have since lived the rest of their adult lives in Israel as citizens of the state. Now, some of these people were very moved by the plight of these African refugees. Their hearts went out and said, no, the government wants to expel them. We reject this. We will take them into our homes. We ourselves will provide them with refuge. And you know, it was a noble effort. I applaud them for doing so. But when the media, the Israeli media, reported on this effort by Holocaust survivors to take in refugees, these are just a sample of the kinds of messages that they received, the kinds of responses that Israelis wrote in their own names connected to their own social media accounts. They write, "In the Holocaust, I bet their parents helped the Germans. Get the hell out along with them. We don't lack for Jew haters in this country. Too bad with them, Hitler didn't finish the job. I wish upon you an ocean of venereal diseases. May you experience rape and violent attacks. May an infiltrator split your body in half. I'd like to commit a holocaust on all the leftists. Drink your blood and fuck your women. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say at this point. It's too disgusting to even find words for.